19560.
And eventually we'll get out of these traffic lights. Everybody can catch up.
We'll hand out cards tomorrow afternoon.
Through traffic lights and keep a group this size together.
Did you copy that, please?
It's just almost impossible.
Sir, we're from all over the country. The number for the auxiliary gym.
Hey, we're all together.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ed. We're just going to take it easy this morning. We've got a short ride. In about an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, we're going to find us a pit stop location. And then we'll move on down to McLeod.
Almighty God, our Father, we praise you for placing in people's minds and hands the ideas, materials, and skills needed for the construction of Airstream trailers. Help us now that we are gathered at Notre Dame to strengthen the ties that bind us together and to do all possible to support and promote our WBCCI organization as an independent, self-owned, self-run, non-profit corporation dedicated to the enhancement of our unique lifestyle.
Right or wrong, but all these people are out here and they're doing something. They're not staying home, dying on the porch. Everywhere we go with the Airstreamers, we go into a place and just all of a sudden we know everybody. And we know people from all over the United States. It's just a whole great big friendship.
Well, the club was formed in, close to Halifax, Nova Scotia in 1955. I believe they started out with all types of trailers and had a lot of problems, so a lot of the members wanted to make it a Wally Byam, just Airstreams. Wally wasn't in favor of it at first, but they didn't realize he was making him a wealthy man, you know. So that's how it really got started.
This is a bird's eye view of an Airstream Wally Byam Caravan Club rally. We're often asked, just what is a Wally Byam rally? What do they do? And why are they called Wally Byam rallies? This is the late Wally Byam, founder of the Airstream Company, pioneer of the travel trailer industry. Wally led caravans all over the world, but between caravans, he used to like to get together with Airstream owners for the pure sake of keeping in touch with traveling companions.
And the people in this club feel that, well, they like the idea of going to the different rallies like the Mardi Gras, Indy 500, the Orange Bowl, Kentucky Derby. These are all done by our members. And we know when we go there that we'll be safe, we'll be protected, and we're among friends. Where when you go somewhere into a motel, you don't know a soul. You don't know whether a fellow's good or bad. We know what we have here, and that's where we feel safe.
We have ice cream parlours at home, but
Nothing like that.
nothing like they have here.
We're really amazed at the quantity of the ice cream that you eat. That's the thing, because we're taken to the habit too. We're eating a quart of ice cream at 10 o'clock at night, and that's not the thing.
I came out here in '78 to a rally, and we met a lot of people over here then who we became friendly with. And we've travelled over here several times, and this time was an opportunity to attend this rally as their guests.
We rented the motorhomes for this caravan, and we happened to get Winnebagos. So there wasn't any specific desire to have a Winnebago.
But once they found out what we're about, and that we were involved with an international club, the reception that we have got has been tremendous. And the vans don't mean a great deal anymore. That's where the Aussies are, but they've become an identification process for us. But apart from that, now the hostility to another model or a different vehicle has gone altogether, because they now understand why we need them and why we're here.
An Airstream motorhome is not simply a way to travel. It is a way to live in luxury and convenience, as you have in your own home. Beautiful cabinetry over this charming dinette area, done in tastefully selected color-coordinated fabrics.
It takes a certain kind of a trailer to get into this club. To belong to this club, you must have a vehicle such as this, called a classic Airstream trailer, that has a configuration from 1987 or before.
We have the B van, and that's what one of the amendments are going to be this afternoon at their delegate meeting. I'm just an Airstreamer. I'm not a delegate. We can no longer tow because of health. I'm sure that all of you would miss your friends like we're going to. We would have to drop out if we have to tow. But we still hope, my husband's 85, I'm 78, we still hope that someday we can tow again. And if we keep our noses clean and our health up, I hope that we can join your club again.
That vote was for the new B van over here that looks like a bathtub on top of it, and that's what that was all about. And I guess you'll notice that was pretty hefty. That meeting was, it got a little bit hairy there for a while.
What was the final vote?
They lost.
They lost.
They want to keep to the Wally Byam original ideas, and I admire them for that. It's our tough luck if we can't tow anymore. And like that one man said, he wouldn't ask everybody to live in a tent just because he had to live in a tent.
Bus transportation, no sidewalks. There is road construction on Juniper. Buses for the white section will start on Thursday, June 28th. Pick up and drop off in the white sections at the marked bus stops, and drop off and pick up at Gate 4 of the arena.
Movie time.
When visiting the Loftus Sports Center, caravanners are asked to not park in restricted or reserved areas. All trailers should have a spring-type clothespin tied to the handle of the door to facilitate the delivery of messages from the message center.
Within this circle of Airstreams is a small city self-contained with its own fire department, sanitation department, infirmary, and post office, completely self-governed and self-operating. The 4th of July festivities began with a big Independence Day parade. All state units participated, and it rolled on for over an hour, complete with costume parades, floats, and beauty queens.
Yes, Karen, you look gorgeous. You look beautiful.
Very good. Kathy.
Rhonda has chosen to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. One of the trademarks of the Wizard of Oz is Dorothy's ruby red slippers. Rhonda achieved her ruby red slippers by gluing 3,000 sequins on her shoes. This is Miss Ontario, Rhonda Knight.
I don't think it's like Kansas. Do you see that rain?
Yes, sir. It's been reported several times this morning. Thank you, Tom. Have a good day. I appreciate it so much. Okay, sir. Thank you. Wally Biome Control standing by. We are waiting for the personnel to come on to check it out. Okay, thank you. You're welcome, sir. Wally Biome Control standing by.
15, 16 in our...
Well, there was a story about the caravan leader that kind of lost, made a wrong turn and pulled up in front of the pearly gates. And one of the angels came out and says, "You fellas can't come in here with those things." So they went to check with St. Peter, and he said, "Let them in. They only stay a few days and be moving on anyway."
What we're going to do is we're going to rendezvous July the 5th in Menominee, Wisconsin, and go west from there. Okay, Jane, if you would, we're going to pass out our driver's books, and then we'll open it up for questions.
You gather all these different people together with different personalities, different backgrounds, and they just sort of gel. I don't know why, but they all, you know, it's always a good group. We've just never been involved where we had a bad group, and everybody tries to be so cooperative, and even with all their differences, they find a common ground, and we all just, it's kind of like family, you know.
Coming in. Coming in.
Better looking. Oh, thank you, thank you. Kind words are always appreciated.
Go over to the man with the hat and the flag. Okay.
I don't know too much about them. They look like a good group when they're traveling. I mean, travel like gentlemen instead of like some of the outlaws that run down the roads.
We really felt like outsiders because people have been together for a while, even though they don't mean to be cliquish and they want to include new people. It's just natural to talk to people that you've been with before. And at one point we considered joining another unit, dropping Watchung or joining another unit in addition to Watchung. Then we went on a 2-week caravan called the Yankee Peddler. That was the first caravan we went on. And it went to Cape Cod, Boston, southern Mystic, then to Cape Cod, then to Boston. And at the end of the caravan, we almost cried.
Turn to your duty roster for tomorrow. Our dump crew tomorrow will be Rock, C, and Soft G. About how many people do we expect to use the dump station here tomorrow? Okay, the dump crew should come on duty about 7:15, 7:30, whatever time, and I wouldn't wait any later than 7:15 because people will be leaving. And you'll dump them until they're ready, until they're done.
Well, the planning and the routing and the scheduling and all this is done during the winter months. We work harder during the winter than we do in the summer. Actually, I think Jane and I think that leading the caravan in the summertime is the fun part.
That's right.
And we've enjoyed the people, and I think particularly we've enjoyed the leader. He does an excellent job, and he doesn't herd you around in a military manner, and yet he keeps the caravan running smoothly. And
the first Western Canadian caravan we went on, we had a retired military naval something or other, and boy, he thought we were boot campers or something. And his wife was another woman was the entertainment, and she had been a cub den leader. And she thought a big deal was to get together and sing Itsy Bitsy Spider went up the water spout. Somehow we didn't go for that.
Yeah.
It was still daylight when I went to sleep last night at 10 o'clock, and light when I woke this morning at 5:45 this morning. Did it ever get dark? We pulled out at 7 this morning with the parking committee because we have to be there to be organized. And as we travel northward, the days get longer. We are in Montana now, and the sky does seem bigger here. I started with the day run, recorded while bumping over the highway. And I have a record of what we've done every day and what we've seen. And I notice that my records are getting longer every day, that I keep writing more and more every day.
The only thing that goes wrong with them is flat tires. And that's because of our roads here. There's a lot of sharp rocks and nails and stuff. They're pretty solidly built. I mean, they're good solid metal. There's not much plastic on them.
These large sheets of special cold-rolled, tempered, high-strength, super-quality finished aluminum are the outside skin of the main fuselage. It is this kind of quality workmanship that is behind the Airstream name, the standard of quality and durability for over 50 years.
Well, there is, I think, a certain feeling that you have the best on the road. And I think there's a certain perception on the part of the public that we think that we're better than they are. However, my observation is, while there are some who do think they are better, that for the most part, the Airstream owners don't think they're better than other people. But because of our tendency, there's an Airstreamer, there's a friend, we do have we don't quite recognize the other people like we should. So that there's a certain amount of resentment that I find as I talk to people about those snobbish Airstreamers.
Now, there's an impression going around that Airstreamers are a very elite group, a bunch of traveling millionaires. Well, that's not so. They are really a wonderful bunch of people. They are. They're good people. They're friendly, helpful, and I'd like to have them for friends, really.
They're people like just you and I, really.
I've heard stories about that. Wally Baum worked for an aircraft building place, and he resigned from that and then built an Airstream sort of like the hull of an airplane. I'd read some stories.
Yeah, that's where he got his
Wally Byam didn't start the club. These people that wanted to form the club, they went to him and asked him about it, see? And he said he had no objection. So they formed the club, you know.
I think every tourist ad I've ever seen from Montana has Wild Goose Island in it. So if you're feeling trendy, especially you guys, snap some photos of Wild Goose Island right here. We're going to go up to the head of St. Mary Lake. We're going to cruise up there about 5 miles and then dock the boat, and everybody's going to get out and walk to a little waterfall. So that's our plan.
I married a man that wanted to go traveling. And he owned the Airstream trailer when I married him. In fact, he wouldn't marry me unless I promised to do this. Honest.
I didn't know that.
Honestly, that's what he did. So that's how. That was 7 years ago. I'm supposed to know what I'm doing here. Oy vey.
And then we'll start it when we go.
Where are we? Where's McDonald's?
It's the end of the trail, isn't it?
Radio check.
Clear.
10-4.
Past some very lovely waterfalls. Falls are always a fascinating highlight of a national park. And as a rule, we regard water as one of nature's...
No one stops to
Oh.
smell the roses.
That's right.
That's an
yeah.
expression a lot of Airstreamers use, or a lot of trailers people use, stop and smell the roses. Trudy and I know the Cutters do too, stop and smell the roses. We
You make
try
us, though,
to.
don't you?
Well, sometimes I
Really,
have
most
to
of the
make
time,
them, but...
We even pick them sometimes when we're not supposed to.
Oh, we do.
Before we left on the trip, we had some minor health problems. Betty and I both, we went to the doctor and we said, should we go on a trip? And he said, of course you go on a trip. What are you going to do? Sit around here and wait for it to get sick again? And I think that's the attitude of most people.
It's a restored Canadian village, and they have stores and churches and homes, and everything is restored like it was in their early historical days of this part of the world.
All aboard, all aboard. Can't get aboard, get a plank.
Keep getting on and off.
That's that last. Hey,
We've already seen all this. We're gonna get on and get to the next station. Do y'all wanna make
I
it
keep
quick?
talking about older people. Now, I'm 76 years old, and I am not an old person because I think my attitude is not old. Caravanning, airstreaming, is one way of doing it. Mentally, physically, spiritually. Hello. Howdy doody.
Was that?
Yeah, great to see you.
Oh, spark plug, yeah.
Come
in.
Good. That's fine. All right.
That's right. Thanks.
Yeah, yogurt, pretzels.
Boy, he's a dude, isn't he? I like the way you're dressed.
Thank you.
I love these things.
That's good. Yogurt peanuts. This yogurt. No calories per 12 ounces.
One more lunch.
Yes. All right. Let's see here. Let me get it fixed up. That's good. Yeah. Right. There you go. It's coming in straight. Oh, totally here now. Well, how's it did it?
It was pure white.
You get used to being surrounded by familiar faces. A week or so after this caravan ends, we're still going to be looking for the other people that we're with, bumping into them at the supermarket and
on the CB.
On the CB.
As you've probably gathered by now, Airstreamers are just people like you and me, from all walks of life, from all over America. They're people who would rather get out and experience the joys of travel than sit home and read about them. They're people of all ages with one thing in common. They're planning for tomorrow, but they're not giving up today. They believe that the time to live is now, and that it's time to stop dreaming and start doing.